G'day folks, my name is Rob. Welcome back for another F1 fantasy video. Today I wanted to take a quick look at the recent announcement from PlayOn and what this means for the official F1 fantasy game moving forward. If you do like the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Before I get into it, I just want to caveat that I'm in no way affiliated with PlayOn or F1 or the F1 fantasy game, but as you guys know, I do have a passion for sharing this kind of information with you. This is tweeted by PlayOn. It was announced yesterday. Really interesting content. We'll jump right into the letter, which was provided by the founder of the PlayOn platform. Ultimately, it looks like they're launching their own new motorsport gaming environment. What that means to me, without any explicit reference to that in the letter, is that F1 and PlayOn are no longer affiliated. They do have, in the first couple of paragraphs, reference to a lot of the terminology synonymous with the game, such as turbo and mega driver and your qualifying and your race streaks. It looks like it's their intellectual property, so on face value, I'm curious to know what that kind of means for the F1 fantasy game, the official F1 fantasy game. Whether that changes, whether they completely overhaul the interface and the structure of the game to be something completely different, something that we haven't really worked with much in the past. And we'll get to the website in a moment. I just wanted to skim down a little bit to the format and pricing. We're just reading through here. The Motorsport Gaming Hub will include multiple formats, teams that you manage over the season, lineups you pick, picks where you select drivers to finish ahead. I guess that's kind of different. And the predictions too, that's also very different. And then the pricing, which was a major gripe I certainly had, I'm sure a number of you also had last season, where there was inconsistencies with sentiment and pricing algorithms. Part of that had to do with Hacker Man. I think part of that was to do with the lack of response to drastic results that just maybe weren't anticipated quite as much throughout the season. So really interesting kind of comments there. Again, this part of the letter is probably not really relevant to me, but again, as I said, the tweets on their page, feel free to take a look at it in your own time if you want more information. So we will just come back up to here where they've obviously launched their own website, their new gaming interface, and obviously all of the terminology that we've become familiar with over the last few seasons of playing the game. I was just on the game rules, but we'll head back to the home page. If we just take a quick look at the home page, coming straight down to here, you can already see the teams, the structure, the fonts, the coloring, all very similar to what was in the official F1 fantasy game. Again, I would say this is the intellectual property of PlayOn and Motorsport Gaming Hub. So as a result of that, that's probably what you would see if you played this game. As you guys know, I'm going to be producing content in relation to the official game, but I then wonder if we're seeing this here, the same kind of formats for teams, lineups, etc. If we see something completely different from the official F1 game heading into this season, it's highly likely, if all of this is the property of Motorsport Gaming Hub. Another really interesting thing, if we go through the game rules and the point scoring, for those of you who read through this in great detail like I did last season, you'll notice it mirrors what we saw on the official F1 fantasy website last season. Budget of 100 million, 5 drivers in a constructor, subs, bank, chips, picking up to 3 teams. Your values reflected on the prices that go up and down over the course of the season. Race weeks include your qualifying, your race sessions, and then your subs bank hits minus 10 points if you take more than 3 in any week, or more than that on a wild card. So yeah, I think the rules, I imagine the scoring is probably quite similar, having not looked at that. Yep, it is 1, 2, 3 for qualifying finishes, DQs for qualifying not classifieds, etc. So all very similar to what we saw last season. And I do wonder, once the game, the official game from F1 Fantasy goes live, what that looks like. So I think realistically we'll find out about that in the next few weeks. I would like to think before before preseason testing in Bahrain, but every year it's been rather inconsistent. Last year it was a week or two before the season started. The year before that it was at the start of February. So I just couldn't say with any certainty what it's going to be this year. But I really wanted to, as part of this video, provide, I guess, my 2 cents on what this means, the big picture for the official F1 fantasy game. And I honestly think it comes down to two options. The first being F1 appreciates, acknowledges, recognizes the importance of fantasy sports, of esports, the growth of the F1 sport in general, and capitalizes on that by delivering a fantasy product that meets the demands and expectations of its $1.6 million player base. I've tweeted before on Twitter that the growth of fantasy sports over time, it's exponential. I've seen growth in, say, fantasy football, for instance, where it started at 70,000 in its first year. It's now up to 11 million. F1 fantasy's been around for 4 years. It started at, I don't know, 200,000-300,000 in its first year. It's now up to 1.6 million. I'd like to think that come this season it's going to be above 2. We'll wait and see. But realistically, there's so much upside for this game, the growth of this sport, the growth of the fantasy sport, and having a product to supplement the official sport where people can, feel comfortable with the product they're getting, unlike what we kind of saw last year, is, pretty crucial in my opinion. So F1, if they do acknowledge that, they do recognize the importance of a functional fantasy game, they'll pile in hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars into this new F1 fantasy platform to deliver an exceptional product, rival the other sports that are so huge in the fantasy space, like football, as I touched on, American football, basketball, rugby, just to name a few. And I think that's probably the approach F1 need to take. Again, the other side of the coin is that they don't really respond to all of this growth, the upside that this has, and they kind of sit back with a laissez-faire attitude. They don't really invest money into developing this game. And then you see other platforms such as PlayOn and others out there, which I know exist, capitalize on that demand and really take out a chunk of the market that F1 could really soak up, given it's the official game for the F1 sport. I guess F1 has the ability to turn on the tap to invest all that money at any point in time. I think it's feasible it happens this season, but I guess we don't really know at this point what that's going to look like, and we'll see when the game goes live in a couple of weeks. But if I'm a betting man, F1 do capitalize on that, take advantage of the market and the demand that's there for a fantasy game, for a sport like F1, and make it the best product it can possibly be. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to kind of delve into that a little bit. I think it's really interesting and at a pivotal juncture for F1 fantasy. Interesting to see, its previous developer PlayOn branch out and do its own thing. As I said, we'll probably hear more about it in the next couple of weeks, but just wanted to kind of share my thoughts. If you like what you hear, what you see, as I said, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. There'll be more content in relation to the broader game as we approach preseason testing. And if you've got any thoughts of your own, be sure to comment below. I'd love to kind of see what you guys have to say on that. But that'll be all for today, just a quick one. But yeah, let me know if you've got any other questions. But otherwise, I'll see you all very soon.